and regional governance structures in our country. Furthermore, the amendments to this bill gives ministerial power to remove elected councillors. The amendments in section 10, 1A and 1B on page 10 of this bill allows the minister to suspend or remove regional councillors for offences or violations of codes of conduct, even if such sanctions have already been imposed by the council. This raises constitutional concerns under Article 1, Sub-Article 2, that states that sovereignty resides in the people, and Article 102 of the Namibian Constitution, as it effectively allows the executive to override the democratic will of the electorate. Elected officials should only be removed through a due process that upholds judicial oversight, not at the sole discretion of the executive branch. Honourable Speaker, honourable members, allow me now to shift my focus to the Boundaries Delimitation and Demarcation Commission under this bill. The new provisions under Section 5 on page 5 of the bill redefines the Commission's composition, operation and powers. Although the Commission is established under Article 104 of the Constitution, the amendment risks politicizing its function by enhancing presidential discretion in appointments without transparent public consultation mechanisms. For boundary-related decisions to be fair, non-executive involvement is of paramount importance. Additionally, this bill provides vague grounds for presidential intervention. Section 80B, paragraph 4 on page 13, allows the President to issue directives to councils if they fail to comply with the minister's instruction without clear checks or legal remedies. This, honourable members, centralizes power at the presidency, conflicting with Article 1, Sub 1 of the Namibian Constitution that speaks of Namibia being a democratic republic, and it further risks violating the rule of law and principles of checks and balances, as there is no indication of a right of appeal or judicial review. Honourable Speaker, honourable members, in conclusion, the Regional Council's Amendment Bill, while aimed at streamlining governance and administrative clarity, concentrates significant authority in the executive at the expense of constitutionally protected decentralization, democratic representation, and judicial fairness. In closing, if this bill is implemented without changes, it risks undermining the following articles in the Namibian Constitution: Article 1, Subsection 2, Sovereignty of the People; Article 102, Decentralized Governance; Article 12, Right to Fair Administrative Justice; and Article 108 and 110A, Limits of Delegated Executive Powers. I so submit, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Member, I now give the floor to Honourable Mongo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to contribute to the debate on the Regional Council Amendment Bill 2025 as tabled by the Minister. I have observed that there is a mismatch between the motivation read by the Minister and the bill itself. One talks about decentralization, the other enforces centralization. One promises efficiency, the other introduces bureaucracy. One claims to depoliticize, the other politicizes even further. These honourable members makes me worried. Madam Speaker, let me start with Section 10, 1B on page 10 of the bill on the suspension and removal of councillors. The motivation claims to promote good governance and administrative fairness. But Section 10(1)(b) gives the minister power to suspend or remove elected councillors, notwithstanding any sanction imposed by the council itself. Therefore, in essence, this bill overrides justice rather than promoting it. Honourable members, let me continue with Section 23A on page 15, the appointment of the Chief Regional Officer. The minister's motivation proudly says the bill will vest administrative functions in executive functionaries and remove political interference. Yet Section 23B(2) says that no Chief Regional Officer shall be appointed without the concurrence of the minister and on the recommendation of the Public Service Commission. Honourable members, that in itself is not decentralization, but it is a ministerial control. Honourable Speaker, honourable members, I now continue with Section 18B on page 12 on directives from governors. The motivation speaks beautifully about coordination and harmony between governors and regional council. Yet, the bill says councils must comply with any directives from governors who are appointed and not elected. How can we claim, honourable members, decentralization when elected councillors take orders from presidential appointees? It simply defeats the purpose of true democracy. Furthermore, Section 25B and 43B concerning staff rules and ministerial approval, the motivation promises administrative efficiency, but the bill, however, requires ministerial approval for everything from staff structures to salary and disciplinary rules. That is not efficiency, but it will be bureaucracy from the head office here in Bintu. Honourable Speaker, honourable members, as I draw to the end of my contribution, allow me to share my observed general concern. When authority is concentrated in the centre, decisions regarding budget approval and development projects for local or municipal councils can be delayed, restricted, or even withheld, not because those councils are failing to serve their communities, but rather as a consequence of political consideration. Such practices, Madam Speaker, if allowed to prevail, would send a deep undemocratic message that the delivery of services depend not on merit or need, but on political party alignment. This strongly undermines the principles of fairness, accountability, and equal representation that form the cornerstone of our democracy. Honourable Speaker, honourable members, as representative of the people, we must reflect carefully on whether we wish to endorse legislation that takes power away from communities and places it in the hand of central authority. Honourable members, now that I have singled out all objections, I cannot and will not support this bill in its entirety, and I urge this August House to reject this bill in its defense of in the defense of our democracy and in respect of the will of the people. I so submit.
Thank you. I recognize Honorable Nashinge.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker of our National Assembly. Let me also join the colleagues in contributing to the debate of this ill-advised amendment bill on the regional councils. While the bill is presented as a technical amendment to enhance administrative efficiency and harmonize governance, a deeper reading reveals a far more concerning intentions. This proposed law represents a quiet but deliberate re-centralization of power into the hands of the minister and politically appointed governors. It fundamentally undermines the very essence of decentralization upon which our democratic system was built. Namibians fought for freedom so that power may belong to the people, not to the ministers sitting in Windhoek. When the Regional Councils Act of 1992 was enacted by His Excellency, the late President and founding President of our Republic, Sam Nujoma, its purpose was clear, very clear, to deepen democracy by bringing government closer to the people. It empowered elected regional councillors to identify local priorities, manage development, and allocate resources in a way that reflected the needs of their communities. The decentralization policy of 1998 reaffirmed that vision, stating that power must flow the center to the regions, not the other way around. Yet this bill moves in the opposite direction. It seeks to re-centralize authority, erode local accountability, and silence the democratic voices of our regional leaders. A major area of concern lies in the sweeping powers granted to the minister under the new staffing provisions. The proposed sections dealing with the personnel management places almost every decision from recruitment and discipline to financial approval and the direct control of the minister and the Public Service Commission. Whatever the colleagues on the other side of the aisle wants to achieve, we don't know. In effect, regional council will no longer have autonomy to manage their staff or their own budgets. The chief regional council, the chief regional officer, and council employees will be treated as extensions of the central government rather than as officers of autonomous regional institutions. This not only contradicts the current Act, but also violates the constitutional principles that regional councils are independent organs of local government, as envisaged under Article 102, Sub-Article 3 of our Constitution. What we are witnessing here is the death of regional autonomy and the birth of bureaucratic dependency. Our particular concerns are the proposed changes affecting the regional governors, which seeks to vest them with broad executive authority to direct government operations, speaking on behalf of the central government, and exert oversight over elected regional councils. Yet, these governors are not elected by the people. They are appointed at the pleasure of the president. If government insists that governors should wield such extensive powers, then it must restore the democratic principle that governors must be chosen by the people they serve. Anything less is a distortion of our Republican ideals. Distortion, I can say it without reading, of our Republican ideals, and dangerous consolidation of political control. Pure madness. This bill risks turning regional administration into partisan instruments of the executive rather than democratic institutions accountable to local citizens. The proposed amendments also contradict the Decentralization Enabling Act of 2000, which commits Namibia to transfer powers, functions, and resources from the central ministries to regional and local authorities. Instead of deepening this process, the bill erects new barriers. It introduces fresh approval layers for routine expenditures, transfers disciplinary powers to the center, and subjects regional decisions to ministerial vetoes. In other words, it decentralizes responsibility but re-centralizes authority. Under this framework, regional council will shoulder the blame when things go wrong, but will have no real power to make decisions when things matter the most. Another troubling feature of this bill is the politicization of the public service. By bringing regional council staff under the Public Service Commission and allowing the minister or the president to vary or reject the Commission's recommendations, the bill opens the door to political interference in appointments and promotions. We all have seen what this country has been going through, especially through the job for comrades and all this funny stuff. Another trouble, it weakens meritocracy and invites patronage, very dangerous for our young nation. The Independent Patriots for Change has been consistent on this matter. The public service must remain professional, impartial, and guided by merit, not by political loyalty. This amendment risks undoing decades of work to build a competent and non-partisan public administration. The legal drafting itself creates further complications by inserting the Regional Council into the framework of the Public Service and Public Service Commission Acts. The bill creates overlapping mandates, potential duplication, and constitutional uncertainty. It blurs the line between administrative oversight and executive control. Ultimately, this undermines the separation of powers at the regional level and erodes the principle of administrative justice guaranteed under Article 18 of our Constitution. Regional councils, instead of acting as elected development authorities, will be reduced to implementing agency for the central government. Honorable Speaker, the Independent Patriots for Change stands for a different vision, one rooted in the aspiration of ordinary Namibians. Our people want real decentralization, not symbolic gestures. They want governors who are accountable to them through the ballot, not to State House through appointment letters and gossips. They want regional councils that can take initiative, manage their budgets, and employ their staff based on competency and integrity. They want transparency, fairness, and the opportunity to participate meaningfully in shaping the development of their regions. The bill before us does not bring government closer to the people. It drags it back to Windhoek. If government is serious about improving regional governance, then it should be bold enough to reform the system in the right direction. It should strengthen, not weaken, the powers of regional council. It should also reintroduce the democratic election of governors so that they answer to the people and not to the political patrons. It should fully implement the decentralization policy, ensuring that functions, funds, and authority are genuinely devolved. It should consider establishing a regional service commission independent from the National Public Service Commission to manage staff matters transparently at the regional level. And above all, it should create a framework of cooperation, not subordination between regional and central authority. Honorable Speaker, this bill is not a decentralization reform. It is a decentralization strategy disguised as one. It undermines our democracy, contradicts national policy, and weakens the constitutional principle of local self-governance. On behalf of the people of Namibia and in defense of their democratic voice, I urge this august House to reject or substantially amend this bill. Let us recommit ourselves to vision that inspires. Let us recommit ourselves to the vision that inspired our independence in Namibia, where power flows from the people upward, not from the politicians downward. Let us ensure that government remains closer, fairer, and more accountable to those it serves. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I call upon Honorable Mbundu.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the floor. that you have given to me, I rise to share my considerate view on the Regional Council Amendment Bill of 2025. I have read the text of the bill and listened attentively to the Honorable Minister's motivation. What I must confess that what I find in the context of this bill raises more economical and developmental concern than confidence. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, the regional and local government system was never designed in an administrative decoration. It was a deliberate economic instrument, a mechanism to move opportunity planning to the accountability closer to the community. That's why our Constitution under Article 102 and 103 recognize them as a constitutional pillar, that not ministerial branches. The frames of the Constitution understood something timeless when decisions about people's livelihood are made too far from their daily struggle. The result is wasted, frustration, and stagnation. This bill unfortunately differed from the founding philosophy. It arranged authority without strengthening productivity. It recognized function without tackling the real obstacles to grow the capacity, slow financial flows, and weak development coordination. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, we have walked this road before when the old regional development planning coordination was amended in the early 2000s. It promised streamlined planning within the 2 years. Regional projects worth millions were stuck because clearance letter and procedural delays piled up. Constructed abandoned sites while communities wait for clinic and rural roads that never materialize. Honorable Nekundi, now you can see me now. Okay, well, Honorable Speaker, in 2010 we saw another example under the so-called alignment of housing administration, that what was meant to ensure uniformity in the policy led to the housing backlog that still hands down today. Good intention turned into administrative paralysis because power was moved upward instead of empowering implementers on the ground. If this bill follows the same path, we risk repeating that strategy, a law that sounds efficient on paper, but skill development in practice. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, every additional layer of procedure in a governance system has a cost. A delayed signature is not just a paperwork. It is unfinished road, broken water pipeline, a delayed school, and investors who chooses to leave. Development strive on spend and predictability. Regional and local council are the first responders to the nation economic emergency. Drought relief, small-scale enterprises support, settlement development, and land allocation. When they cannot act swiftly, the nation economic bleeds silently at the parasphere where it hurt most. At the law that lengthens the road between a problem and decision is not reform, it's regressions. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, strong nations are not built by concentrating authority, but by distributing responsibility. A balanced political system, recognize and regional council are training ground for leadership, not holding rooms for
Listen and
compliance.
learn.
The draft of our constitution saw council as laboratories for democracy maturity, where ordinary citizens would test leadership, oversight, and local decision
Burki.
making. This bill risks converting those councils into spectators, waiting for instruction rather than designing progress. When leaders in the region lose the confidence to take initiative, national politics becomes an echo chamber to central voices and local silence. That is not development. It's a control through dependency. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians. Namibia's long-term development plan, Vision 2030, to the Harambee Prosperity Plan, all rest on one assumption, that the region must become engine of growth. Yet this bill says nothing about capital formation, local investment, attraction of fiscal responsibility. It does not address how council can raise funds, manage budget efficiently, or partner with private sector. Instead, is think with high rate that the management reform, not economic reform. If this bill truly thought to unlock regional economies, it will prioritize a predictable framework for regional budgeting, faster approval of local projects, capacity building for financial officers, and transparent development evaluation tools. Those are the nuts and the bolts of progress, not rearranging who to report to whom. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, nations that centralized their development administration from Zambia in the 1980s to Zimbabwe in the early 2000s all saw the same outcome: shrinking local accountability, politicized project allocation, all the collapse of community trust. Development is slow not because of lack of money, but because lack of decision. Making power where is mastered. We must not let Namibia walk into the same ditch wearing a new suit of unquote amendments.
Too high for you.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, really reform is not about rearrangement desk. It is about fixing delivery. We must build a system where regional council plan bloodary, execute efficient, and measured by result, not by compliance. Let us design a law that strengthens local fiscal management, encourage innovation in regional development, foster collaboration among council, business and community, and establish accountability that moves upward from citizens, not downward from ministries. That is how development takes root. In conclusion, honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, we cannot afford another law that takes a modern but function like yesterday. Our people need jobs, infrastructure, responsive governance, that not new chains of approval. I therefore urge this August House to look beyond and surface and consider the economic and developmental cost of passing a bill that risks slowing the very progress it claims to accelerate. Let us craft a legislation that empowers every region to think, decide, and deliver to its people. That is the Namibian, our constitution, we imagine. With these few words, I so
Honorable Amkoto.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the floor. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, as a former regional councillor and now a shadow minister of urban and rural development,
Very important. Sandbasha ran away because of you. Very important.
I rise to make my contribution to the debate on the Regional Council Amendment Bill, tabled by the Honorable Minister of Urban and Rural Development. While I recognize the intent of this bill to strengthen the administrative efficiency of the Regional Council and improve the coordination between the Regional Council and central government, I must, however, express deep concern over several provisions which, in my considered view, risk undermining the principle of decentralization and the democratic accountability that lie at the heart of our governance framework. Honorable Speaker, Namibia's system of regional government was founded on the vision that decisions affecting local and regional development should be made as close to the people as possible. The Regional Council Act of 1992 was designed to empower elected regional councils to plan, coordinate, and manage development in their respective regions. The Constitution, particularly Article 102 and Article 108, enshrine the principle of decentralization governance as a means to bring service and decision-making closer to the people. It is therefore troubling that this amendment bill in several instances appear to reverse that progress by concentrating significant authority in the office of the regional governors and the minister. One of the most concerning provisions is the newly inserted section 18B, which makes regional council accountable to the government through submissiveness with the request or directive by the governor, and empower the minister and the president to issue directives where council fail to comply. Honorable Speaker, while accountability is essential, the broader and undefined nature of this power effectively gives governors who are appointed, not elected, that ability to override the decision of the democratically elected regional council. This risks reducing the council to mere administrative extension of the executive rather than autonomous body representing the people of the regions.
Imagine.
Honorable Speaker, this amendment complicates the constitutional separation between representative, the executive authority at the regional level, and Article 110A of our Constitution. Governors are already appointed by the President to coordinate executive function in the region and represent the central government. Regional council, by the contrast, are directly elected by the people to articulate local priorities, giving governor a directive power over councils, including the ability to demand compliance. Erode this constitutional balance, it shifts power upward to the central and sideline the voices of the community. This move, in my respectful view, represents a step backward from decentralization to recentralization. Honorable Speaker, I wish to emphasize that true decentralization is not achieved by simply delegating administrative tasks from central government by giving regions the power or resources, but by giving the region the power, resources, and the accountability mechanism to make decisions independently and efficiently. The current amendment appears to strengthen the reporting upward rather than empowering council to deliver downwards. This approach might create confusion, duplicate of authority, and even conflict between governors and the regional council, which would be detrimental to service delivery. Honorable Speaker, while I appreciate the bill's positive intentions such as strengthening the boundary, delimitation, and the demarcation commission, clarifying the definition of chief regional officer, and professionalizing administrative function, I believe the approach must be balanced. Central oversight must not translate into executive dominance. Namibia's governance model should evolve toward empowering regions, not controlled regions. I therefore urge the Honorable Minister to consider amendment that will, number one, clearly define the limit of governance, directive powers, ensuring that they do not interfere with the autonomy of elected councillors. Yes. Number two, introduce independent dispute resolution mechanism between governors and the regional council, rather than allowing the minister to be both participant and the referee. Number three, reinforce the principle of fiscal and administrative decentralization, allowing council more control over their budget, staff, and development priorities. In line with the National Decentralization Policy of 2013, ensure that the disciplinary provision respect due process and protect the democratic mandate of councillors elected by the people. Honorable Speaker, decentralization is not merely an administrative reform, it is a democratic promise. It is about trust in our people and their capacity to govern themselves at the local level. If we centralize authority in the hands of the appointed governors, we risk weakening the trust and diminishing the purpose of local democracy. Let us therefore reform regional governance in a manner that promotes efficiency and professionalism, but without eroding the foundational value of representation and accountability. In closing, Honorable Speaker, I support the modernization of regional administration, but not at the expenses of democracy. I therefore urge that this bill be referred back for reconsideration of those clauses that confer absolute all unchecked powers upon governors and the minister. Yes. The people elected their council to speak for them. Mm-hmm. Their voices must not be muted by administrative overreach. Yes. I thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussions? Any further discussions? So, Honorable Kambala? Oh, okay. So, Honorable Chris, you wanted to defer the discussion on behalf of Honorable Hengari. Would you still like to do that?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, in the absence of any further contributions, we can postpone on behalf of Honorable Hengari
to what day?
To Thursday.
Thursday to tomorrow. Tomorrow.
No.
Is it Thursday tomorrow? Or?
Let's take Tuesday the 11th. Let's take Tuesday the 11th.
Tuesday the 11th. Is there any objection to Tuesday the 11th? Okay, so attend. The secretary will now read the fourth order of the day.
Resumption of debate on second reading, Public Enterprises Governance Amendment Bill.
When this assembly adjourned on Wednesday, the 8th of October, 2025, the question before the assembly was a motion by the Right Honorable Prime Minister that the bill be read a second time. Honorable Hengari adjourned the debate, and she now has the floor. Yes, Honorable Mongo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable members.
Honorable Mongo, the floor is to Honorable Hengari. So are you... We have to deal with that part before we come to the discussion. So Honorable Hengari is not here, so then it means I call for further discussions upon which the Honorable Mongo may take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Is it 5 minutes? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable members, I rise to contribute to the debate on the Public Enterprise Governance Amendment Bill 2025, tabled by the Right Honorable Prime Minister. I do so with a deep sense of duty and not to oppose reform for its own sake, but to defend the constitutional principles that guard our republic against the very dangers of this bill threatens to introduce. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, our Constitution is the supreme law of our country. It is not a document of convenience. It is the moral compass that directs how powers must be distributed and exercised. Article 1, subsection 2 states unequivocally that all power shall vest in the people of Namibia and shall be exercised in accordance with this Constitution. Further, Article 35, Article 40, and 41 clearly establish that executive power shall be exercised collectively through cabinet and that each minister shall be individually responsible for the administration of their respective portfolios. The bill before us, honorable members, represent a serious departure from this constitutional safeguard. By centralizing authority over public enterprises, including appointments, financial oversight, and strategic directives into the office of the Prime Minister, this bill shifts us from a system of collective cabinet governance to one of concentrated executive control. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, such concentration of power may appear efficient on paper, but in practice, it is administratively unsound and unconstitutionally dangerous. It distorts the delegate balance between Parliament, the executive, and the individual ministers who are meant to serve as custodian of their sectors. The Prime Minister, whose constitutional role is that of coordinator of government business, would now assume direct executive control over entities that properly fall under sectoral ministries. Furthermore, this creates not only a conflict of interest, but also an accountability vacuum. Who will be held responsible when a directive from the Prime Minister results in financial loss, mismanagement, or maladministration within a state-owned enterprise? The line minister, who no longer has authority, or the Prime Minister, who cannot be individually accountable for all sectors? Honorable Member, Honorable Speaker, the bill also weakens parliamentary oversight. Most of the powers are placed directly under the office of the Prime Minister without any express provision for mandatory reporting to Parliament. This effectively sidelines Parliament from performing its oversight function under Article 44, which requires that the executive action be subjected to scrutiny, transparency, and justification before the August House. Moreover, honorable members, by subordinating line ministers to directives from the Prime Ministers on matters relating to enterprises under their portfolios, the bill erodes the principle of ministerial independence. Article 41 of our Constitution is very clear. Each minister is individually responsible to Parliament for matters within their ministry. Yet, under this new framework, honorable members, ministers would merely execute the Prime Minister's directive, stripping them of autonomy and rendering them politically irrelevant in their own areas of responsibility. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, this bill does not strengthen governance, it politicizes it. It removes professional and institutional distance between the shareholder representative and the operational management of public enterprises. In doing so, it opens a wide door for patronage, interference, and conflict of interest. The danger of this bill, honorable members, lies not in what it promises today, but in what it permits tomorrow. We may have confidence, and then of course we do, in the current occupant of the Prime Minister's office. But laws are not written for personalities. They are written for prosperity. Tomorrow's leaders may abuse the very powers we are so casually centralizing today. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the health of a democracy is not measured by how swiftly power can be concentrated, but by how faithfully it is checked, balanced, and distributed. This bill fails that test. It contradicts the spirit and letter of our Constitution and weakens the very accountability structures that keeps government answerable to its people. Fellow Namibians, Our country deserves a public enterprise reform framework that is decentralized, transparent, and constitutionally sound. One that enhances efficiency without undermining democratic accountability. This bill, honorable members, regrettably does the opposite. It is therefore my considered view that the Right Honorable Prime Minister should withdraw this bill and return with a restructured proposal that aligns with constitutional principles and preserve the independence of line ministries. I must also ask, with all due respect, how do Cabinet colleagues reconcile this bill with their own constitutional responsibilities under Article 41? Does this bill not reduce them to mere implementers of directives rather than accountable ministers before this House? Honorable Minister, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, in conclusion, in its current form, the Public Enterprise Governance Amendment Bill 2025, it is administratively problematic, constitutionally unsound, and democratically regressive. I cannot, in good conscience, support a piece of legislation that risks turning our executive governance into a one-office command system. I so submit.
Thank you. Honorable Kalangula.
I'm protecting you, my ministers.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, as we debate on this bill, it is important to start with the background. The Namibian Public Enterprises Governance Amendment Bill B10 of 2025 is a significant reform that primarily redistributes oversight and shareholder functions for public enterprises among the Prime Minister, relevant portfolio minister, and the Minister of Finance. This marks a shift from the consolidation of power under a single minister responsible for public enterprises, which was the hallmark of the previous legislation. The bill seeks to amend the Public Enterprises Governance Act, number 1 of 2019. Honorable members, based on the described shift in authority, potential loopholes, implementation risks, or area of conflict arises from this type of power redistribution. It is based on the above that I point out the following 3 concerns. Number 1, risk of overlapping mandates and ministerial conflicts, decentralization flaws. Honorable members, the bill reintroduces a hybrid system redistributing power among the Prime Minister, the relevant minister, and the Minister of Finance, while the stated goal is to clarify roles. The actual division of power, for example, between the relevant minister appointing the board and the Minister of Finance approving major transactions, could create turf wars or political deadlocks. A relevant minister's operational directive might conflict with the finance minister's financial prudence, creating a loophole for public enterprises to delay or disregard instructions by playing the ministers off each other. The powers and concurrence requirement in Section 4B on the Minister of Finance shareholders' role, for example, approving major transactions, might not be sufficiently clear, potentially creating a veto power that might cause delays on critical business decisions. The 2019 Act was a reaction to the failure of the previous decentralized model. And this bill risks returning to the very challenges it sought to fix. And that leads to diluted accountability due to diffused responsibility. Number 2, heightened risk of political interference, either by the Prime Minister or relevant minister spouse. Honorable members, key functions like board appointments and removal as per this bill will be vested in the relevant portfolio minister, with the Prime Minister assuming overall stewardship role. Concentrating board appointment power in the hands of a single portfolio minister rather than a central oversight-focused ministry significantly increases the risk of political patronage and cronyism in board appointments. The Prime Minister's power to intervene in leadership crisis could be exploited for political purposes to remove non-compliant public enterprise leadership without following due process, thereby undermining corporate governance principle. The criteria for the Prime Minister's intervention as per Section 4A, or the relevant minister's power to appoint or remove board members, as per Section 4A, subsection 1B, must strictly and objectively define to prevent arbitrary political decision from overriding the public enterprise's commercial and non-commercial mandate. If these criteria are vague, the power is a loophole for undue political influence. Number 3, and lastly, ministerial accountability gap, a lack of penalty for non-compliance. The 2019 Act was criticized for its omission of any form of punishment or accountability for a minister's failure to enter into a governance or performance agreement with Public Enterprises Board. If this bill does not introduce explicit punitive measures for relevant ministers or the Prime Minister for failing to execute their stipulated duties, for example, concluding on performance agreement or monitoring performance, the problem of ministerial accountability, which is a historical loophole or a hazard, will persist. This,
Honorable Member, there
in
is
itself,
a point of order raised. A point of order raised.
Say again, Speaker.
Thank you very much, my brother. You were doing very good in terms of the well-prepared speech of yours from sources. But I wanted to say, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member have touched on a very important issue, which is a reform within the Constitution of the Republic, which is touching on the performance management system. The performance management system, Honorable Speaker, you will be very aware that it was introduced. I am... No. Now, I want...
The Honorable Member must ask.
Speaker, can you protect me?
The Honorable Member must ask for the floor.
Speaker, can I be prepared? So I wanted to just help my brother.
I cannot make a ruling if you are all talking at the same time.
Yes.
What I have observed in this assembly is that there are some members who think that the rules must be applied only when they are inconvenienced by the conduct of others. But the way that they raise the attention, draw the attention of the presiding officer to the issues is outside of the rules. They just shout in a chorus. It doesn't work like that. So I want Honorable Werikwa to indicate what point of order he's raising.
The Honorable Member has put it that the Honorable Prime Minister will unilaterally be implementing it at an authoritative point without understanding the context, because he is dealing with the issue of signing performance agreement with individual CEOs of SOEs. So I wanted to correct that narrative, because that's a wrong perception on
Yes, yes, Honorable Members. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Honorable Member. You have done that. No, okay. Can you please take your seat, Honorable Member? Thank you very much. You have done that. Now, I just want to appeal to the members that, honorable members, we cannot use the point of order to argue against a point that is made. Exactly. But you all do it, even the ones who are saying this. The moment the other person says something that you don't agree with, you want to make a point of order. When you make a point of order is when you have to draw the attention of the presiding officer on a violation of the rule. You can't just make a point of order to disagree with someone. You ask for the floor to make a contribution to rebut what the other person has done. So now, having said that, we proceed. The Honorable Member may proceed, please. Yes.
That's good. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. As I continue,
you must also comply with the rules.
Honorable Speaker, as I may,
yes, please.
As I may continue.
He hardly interrupts anyone. Please let's hear the Honorable Member without interruptions.
Thank you so much. Honorable Speaker, as I was speaking with regards to the historical loophole and hazards that will persist if we continue with this trend, this in itself has the potential of entertaining the very illness that caused the failure of Air Namibia, RCC, Transnamib, and many other public enterprises that of which the failure remains questionable or rather ignored today. If this bill maintains the principle of Section 11 of the 2019 Act requiring a governance agreement with the board, but continues to shield the minister from the consequences of failing to sign, the governance framework remains asymmetrical and ineffective. Honorable members, it is in the best interest and for the ultimate accountability to approach with caution with the above stated loopholes in mind. Therefore, I stand not in support of this bill as is. I so submit.
Honorable Mbundu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, once again, that you have given me the floor. I rise to contribute on the debate on the Public Enterprises Governance Amendment Bill of 2025, tabled by the Right Honorable
Go back to school.
Honorable member, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. So I think I'm a person who does not disturb anyone in this house.
Yes, that is correct, Honorable member.
So let's respect one another when another member's on the floor.
Yes.
So if you want to speak, you can just press the button, then you can contribute.
Correct, Honorable member, but this time you are also wrong because the speaker should do that. But I agree with you.
Yes,
you don't disrupt other members.
We are not in the class.
Yes. Honorable members, can we please hear our colleague?
Yes.
Honorable Mbundu, proceed, please.
So I rise to contribute on the debate on the Public Enterprises Governance Amendment Bill of 2025, tabled by the Right Honorable Prime Minister. While the bill is presented as an effort of strengthening the performance of public enterprises, it is regrettable offer than cosmetics, restructuring than a real reform. After years of losses, bailout and efficiency in our state-owned enterprises, the Namibian people deserve a bill that fixes the disease, not that one that rearranges the symptoms. The amendment before us is silent in accountability, performance, enforcement, and fiscal realism, and every areas that have crippled our public enterprises. The Right Honorable Prime Minister calls for empower your office to clarify public enterprises based on commercial or non-commercial functions. Yet this clause failed to define measurable criteria for such as clarifications. How can the public trust that clarification will not be subject and politicized, politically motivated, especially when no clear formula exists on measuring strategic importance or social impact. So Namibia has repeatedly classified losses-making enterprises as strategic simply to justify more bailout without strike and public criteria. This amendment risks becoming another administrative game of labor that hides failure under new title. Right Honorable Prime Minister, Clause 9 talks about remuneration frameworks for CEOs and boards, yet the bill is silent on the link between pay and performance. How can the government continue to justify millions of dollars salary for executive of enterprises that record zero profits? Shrinking market or repeat bailouts? Should we not first legislate a system that punishes non-performance and rewards results before we approve yet another salary structure that fuels public anger and waste? In its current form, the bill protects top management but says little about protecting the taxpayer. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, clause 11, empower ministers to determine dividend policy in consultation with the Minister of Finance. But what is the dividend policy when most enterprises have no profit to declare? So does this governance not see the contradiction of demanding dividends from bankrupt enterprises that rely on state bailout to say a lot? This clause may look progressive, but it is economically unrealistic and fiscally dishonest. Instead of forcing losses to appear retained, the bill should have focused on turnaround strategy, transparent audit, and professional leadership, not on deducting dividend from debt-ridden entities. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, this bill is a missed opportunity to transform public enterprise into an engine of national growth. It polishes and surfaces, but leaves the deep cracks untouched. It does not say how to stop corruption in the board, how to recover misuse funds, or how to make losses, making entities profitable again. It offers instruction without strategy and bureaucracy without accountability. Our country needs a reform that demands result, not just reshuffle authority. Unless this bill is redrafted on focus on performance enforcement, fiscal discipline, and professional independence, it will be another beautiful speech with ugly result. With these few words, I so submit.
Honorable Nashinge. Honorable Nashinge, you have the floor.
Oh, you wanted me to stand up before?
No, I see that you are on the list of MPs asking for the floor.
You live with it. You can go out of the chamber. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. But truly, Speaker, call your comrades to order. Yeah, please. And
Honorable Nashinge, who are my
if
comrades?
if need be, with due respect, Honorable Speaker.
No, Honorable Nashinge, the Speaker is the presiding officer for the Assembly and enforces the rules of the House equitably. There are no comrades and no non-comrades.
But that's what you do every day here. With due respect, if that can be done,
Honorable
this institution,
Honorable
this institution can subject us to some sort of testing, because the behaviors of some members.
Honorable Nashinge, can you get to your contribution?
Please. Honorable Speaker, fellow members of the Namibian people and the Namibian people, today we are not just debating a bill, we are debating the soul of governance in our country. The Public Enterprise Governance Amendment Bill before us is being presented as a reform. But when you look closely, it is not reform, it is re-centralization. It takes power away from professionals and places it back into political hands. The very same political hands that killed Air Namibia, that killed RCC, that killed DBC, that killed ODC, and many others. Our people are tired. Our people, is Namibia alive? You killed it.
Honorable members, can we really address ourselves to the issues? Okay, let's address ourselves to the issues. The honorable member may proceed, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Our people are tired. They are tired of seeing state-owned enterprises collapsing under the weight of political interference. They are tired of seeing the same faces and recycled incompetence from one board to another, while the institutions they lead continue to fail. NIP is one of those. Up to now, no accountability whatsoever. People gave each other scars and all these things. So these amendments, unless the Right Honorable Prime Minister is going to come back in this house and tell us the solution, when he is back, the solutions first before the amendments. Namibian people are tired of watching those with connections prosper while those with competence are sidelined. There will be, when the campaign starts, all these people with intentions to serve on these boards and to become CEOs, you see them following the rallies. And after the rallies, they are appointed as board members and CEOs, rewarded. Look what is happening there.
Honorable member, now there is a point of order.
No, I will not stop.
Honorable member, there is a point of order.
Honorable Speaker, I would say that's factually incorrect. Board members of public enterprises, like any other board members of even private companies, go through a rigorous interview process. Public enterprises advertise through their line ministries for board members. They are interviewed, they are recommended by the interview panel, and then the line minister appoints. So it is not true, and I cannot accept, as a member of this house who is also in charge of public enterprises, to hear that board members go to rallies for them to be appointed. That's not factually correct, and the honorable member, we cannot allow that to reflect on the record. I so submit my point of order.
Honorable members, let us not allow the debate to deteriorate where we are detracted from the issues, the main issues of the bill. We are all politicians, and we can politic with in our debate. So please, let's focus on the issues so that really we can deal with the main issues.
Can I continue now, Speaker?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Look at what is happening at Midco. Once a proud farmers cooperative, now weakened by political domination, leadership confusion, and mismanagement. When politics runs a business, the business collapses, and the people, farmers, workers, and citizens pays the price. Let us not pretend otherwise. Political control has destroyed our 97 state-owned enterprises. The recent dismantling of Namibia's Ministry of Public Enterprise has cast a shadow of uncertainty over state-owned enterprises. President Netumbo Ndaitwa's administration dissolved the ministry, which was previously responsible for acting as a central shareholder for commercial state-owned enterprises, transferring its functions to individual ministries, line ministries. While this was presented as a decentralization, it has created a fragmented oversight, raising questions about efficiency, accountability, and professional governance. Line ministers are now solely responsible for the appointment of state-owned enterprises boards, a function previously coordinated centrally, which risks appointments based on loyalty rather than competence. We have already witnessed the consequences of this mismanagement, with projects under the former ministry failing or underperforming due to political interference, weak oversight, and recycled boards. We must also introduce a 3-year cooling off period. Listen to this one. We must introduce a 3-year cooling off period for a person who served as a director in one public enterprise can be reappointed to another. This will end the recycling of failure and careerist board of directors. We have people who have become career board of directors in this country. We all know that it's a fact. Centralizing power.
Now you must withdraw that one, honorable member. That member is not in this house to defend himself. This is a clear violation of the rule. No.
Centralizing power around one individual is the very opposite of democracy. Before this bill was even conceived, who was consulted? Were the workers, the boards, or the taxpayers whose money keeps these enterprises alive ever asked what kind of governance they want? Were the Namibian people across the country ever consulted on their public enterprise how their public enterprise should be managed? The president, when announcing her cabinet publicly declared that public enterprises would return to their respective line ministries. Yet, here we are, with the minister, with the prime minister, now yet, with the prime minister now tabling a reform that was never intended to sit in his office. Where does this sudden authority come from? These contradictions between the president's announcement and the prime minister's actions exposes a government that governs through politics, not policy, a government that thrives on confusion, and a confusion that will continue to haunt our state-owned enterprises for years to come. Namibia needs a professional independent public enterprise, perhaps an independent public enterprise agency, not one captured by politics. And we need experts to run these entities, not political loyalists. Each line ministry should take responsibility for its own agency. The Ministry of Finance is already struggling with its own financial management and cannot carry the additional burden of supervising state enterprises. DBN, Agribank, we don't know what is going on. Nampos is worse. The ministry, let us stop this habit of overloading ministries. Let us stop this habit of overloading ministries that are already underperforming. Honorable Speaker, our problem is not a lack of power in the center. It is a lack of the right expertise and insulated governance. Let us choose to build a resilient institution, not empower single individuals. The PEGA offers a modern The fellow members, this is why political education is essential, just as gerrymandering manipulates electoral boundaries to favor those in power, centralizing appointments and controlling state-owned enterprises politically manipulates institutions to favor party interests. Both weaken democracy and the voice of ordinary Namibians. Citizens must understand this mechanism, and Parliament must act to safeguard institutions from such manipulation. Honorable Speaker, our problem in Namibia is not absence of laws. It is the abuse of laws, and this bill could have been a golden opportunity to restore public confidence and professionalize governance in our state-owned enterprises. For example, the Office of the Prime Minister is a custodian to the public Service Commission. Now, if you look at the structure of the Public Service Commission, one would have expected the Public Service Commission to also take care of Can you just keep quiet? Honorable Speaker, these are the things that I'm talking about. So I'm saying, for example, if we look at the Public Service Commission, if we were very serious, the Public Service Commission is also supposed to be taking care of state-owned enterprises, the interviews, all these things that are happening. Now, they are state-owned enterprises, but they are in their own island without any governance or whatsoever from the shareholder. So, with that, how is the Office of the Prime Minister with this bill as well, when you already have issues within the system? How is the Office of the Prime Minister going to, where will the Office of the Prime Minister get that magic to manage 97 state-owned enterprises? Many are failing. Many have not even brought anything, any serious dividend back into the cover so that the taxpayers can benefit. It will not work. Honorable Speaker, instead, it risks consolidating political control under a new structure and filling those entities with political loyalists. The Namibian people do not want state-owned enterprises stuck with party allies. They want results. They want functioning institutions that create jobs and value. They want a government that serves, not rules. We on this side of the House believe in a Namibia where institutions serve the people, not political parties. A Namibia where competence is rewarded, not connections. A Namibia where public resources are managed with honor, integrity, and transparency. Very much important. We will support any amendment that strengthens governance, but we will firmly reject any law that entrenches political interference and patronage. At the end of the day, public enterprises belongs to the Namibian people, not to any politicians or political party. Let this parliament be remembered as the one that stood up for accountability, professionalism, and the ordinary taxpayers. That is the Namibia we want to build, a Namibia that works, a Namibia that serves, and a Namibia that delivers for its people. With that said, these proposed amendments are rejected. Let's go back to the drawing board and do right for ourselves. Do right for ourselves.
Okay, honorable members, we have 5 minutes before knock-off time. Okay, very good. Honorable Theophilus, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll stick to the time just before knockoff. I can confidently say, Honorable Speaker, that as a Minister of ICT, some of the speeches here were AI generated. Because if the honorable members had actually read the bill, they would understand why this is an amendment bill to amend an existing bill of 2019. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to read the long title of this amendment bill before I actually make my contribution. So, Honorable Speaker, the Public Enterprises Governance Amendment Bill, in its long title, indicates 1, to amend the Public Enterprises Governance Act of 2019 as to delete and substitute certain definitions, transfer certain powers and functions relating to public enterprises from the Minister responsible for public enterprises and the Minister responsible for finance to the Prime Minister and the relevant minister. This is the most important one. Relevant minister. Okay. The long title further says, provide. Oh, okay.
Honorable Izazi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. On a point of order, the Honorable Minister have broke the rules by degrading downgrading the speeches of honorable members, that they are AI generated. The honorable minister is requested to withdraw that. To withdraw unconditionally.
Okay, the minister may continue, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We can agree to disagree, but we can put the request in ChatGPT, and I'm sure some statements will be actually output what was discussed here. I continue with the long title, Honorable Speaker. Further, the long title of this governance amendment bill indicates that it is to provide for the powers and functions of the relevant minister and the Prime Minister in relation to public enterprises, make provision for the designation of a recruitment committee, provide for agreements in relation to dividends between the relevant minister, the minister responsible for finance, and the Prime Minister. Insert provisions relating to approval of the dividend policy in respect of commercial public enterprises, which has already been defined in the principal act of this amendment bill, and to provide for the approval of a proposed investment by the relevant minister with the concurrence of the minister responsible for finance, and so on. Honorable Speaker, I had to read the long title because it makes it seem that there is no relationship between the Prime Minister, the relevant minister, and it's defined in this bill, amendment bill, that the relevant minister is a sectorial minister of that public enterprise. Let's give the Ministry of ICT as an example. This means it's NAMPOS, this means it's CRAN, this means it's NTC, Telecom, and so on. So if you see it that way, Honorable Speaker, and I speak to you, Honorable Speaker, because there is some conflating of issues around general administration of public enterprises, which is catered for in the Principal Act and not catered for in this governance amendment bill. And that is why there is a lot of decentralization and no decentralization conversation here about board members and so on. All of that is not true. So first of all, Honorable Speaker, this amendment bill, and it's a governance amendment bill, is meant to decentralize the governance oversight of the public enterprises, making sure that the Prime Minister as head of government is able to coordinate how the various relevant ministers manage the public enterprises. On top of that, when it comes to money, and that's why there's an issue around the dividend policy, the minister responsible of finance must be consulted by the relevant minister to ensure that there is alignment. I need to give a practical example. Telecom Namibia is meant to expand network connectivity in this country. And Telecom Namibia's role, especially knowing that it has the backbone infrastructure for every connectivity in this country, must ensure that we reach one day universal access. But Telecom also has to become financially prudent. So when we come to issues related to finance, whether it's approving the annual budget of Telecom Namibia, looking at the integrated strategic business plan of Telecom Namibia, it's only prudent that the relevant minister actually consult with the finance minister to ensure that they are aligned. But on top of that, the Prime Minister must give that coordinating role so that what I'm doing with Telecom Namibia as a Ministry of ICT, the Ministry of Works and Transport is also doing with the Roads Authority to ensure that there is one policy alignment in terms of how we govern public enterprises in this country. And that is the aim of this government amendment bill. Okay. Why are you standing up and attacking me? Huh? I'm being attacked, Speaker, I'm being attacked.
Honorable Nashinge has the floor to make a point of order. Yes, Honorable Nashinge, what is that?
No, Honorable Speaker, we are lost. We are lost here. We are dealing with the bill. We are dealing with the bill tabled by the Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Yes.
So her intervention is coming in from what? What was that? Maybe you can just help us.
I can do that.
Yeah.
the Honorable Minister of ICT is contributing to the debate as a member of parliament.
It's a general
which
debate.
she's entitled to, like any other MP. Yeah, there is no limit to what she can say unless if she violates a law.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Honorable Speaker, I will finish now because I know we are past knock off time because my
yes, actually, it's past knock off time.
Yes,
It's
2
either
minutes.
we rise on automatic adjournment,
Okay.
or yeah, and
I
then
wish
we
not to
continue.
postpone because I only have 2 minutes.
Okay,
which I
then
can
2
summarize.
minutes.
2 minutes
Yes.
is sufficient.
Yes.
So definitely that coordination role is put in this governance amendment bill. Second of all is to align with sectoral deliverables. I must indicate here, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, that the previous, the Principal Act in its current form actually made it impossible for sectorial ministers to actually ensure that the deliverables in the sector are taken care of and that the issues around financing do not override because there was only one Minister of Public Enterprises. But now, every relevant minister is a Minister of Public Enterprise because now as a Minister of ICT, I'm also a minister responsible for a public enterprise and can actually guide the governance of that public enterprise to ensure that it delivers on the sectoral mandate of expanding the provisions made of the government of the day. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, this balance of coordination I've indicated earlier between the relevant minister, the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister is very, very important because it no longer concentrates the power in one individual. So in fact, it is decentralization to the T because now there is continuous consultation between various cabinet members, the Prime Minister, the relevant minister, the minister responsible for finance, to ensure that that public enterprise reaches its goals. On top of that, when it comes to board appointments, Honorable Speaker, and I did say this in the point of information, there is a rigorous interview process. But on top of that, every board member, as per the Principal Act, can only serve 2 terms on a board. Secondly, they can only serve 2 public enterprises boards at a time. It's in the Act already as it is. If we would have read it, we would have known. So for this notion that the boards do not have a performance management system is not true. I've sat down with board members who are board members of public enterprises under the Ministry of ICT, and we have signed performance agreement. And in doing so now with this amendment bill, it actually strengthens the role all the way to coordination with the head of government administration, which is the Prime Minister. It is for this reason I support the bill. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Now the House rises on the basis of automatic adjournment until tomorrow at 14:30.